The vendors that you write checks to will need to be entered into the vendor list in accounts payable before you can enter in invoices. And I will show you how to enter in a vendor into the vendor list. You will click on accounts payable. Inside accounts payable, under maintenance, you're going to see vendor list. Go ahead and click on that. All of the vendors you have set up would be showing in your list here, and ours is empty, and we're going to go ahead and add one. So I'm going to hit add. The screen will come up where you will have to put in a vendor ID, and this is not done automatically by Truckwin, so you will have to type one in. I'm going to do one for a company called Cellular Only, which is a cell phone company. You can utilize the vendor type drop down. There'll be some ones in there by default, and you can always set more of those up. Vendor name. City, state, and zip, all self-explanatory. A place for phone, fax, contact. On the bottom, you can choose different term codes for the particular vendors. If they have a particular federal ID that you want to list, you can enter that in. If they get a 1099, you can mark it yes, but most times for your basic accounts payable, that'll be marked a no. An example of yes would be if, say, you're paying an agent through accounts payable and you're going to need to issue them a 1099, you would mark that yes. And then the most important part about setting up the vendor is tying the expense account to it. So where it says expense account, the department's always going to be 000. And now I need to pick the best expense account that ties along with this vendor. So this is a cell phone company. So I'm going to double click on my list. And I'm going to scroll down. Starting in the 5,000s is going to be my expenses. And here I found account 8080 called communication expenses. Well, that makes sense to me since it's the cellular phone bill as a communication expense. So I'm going to hit select. And please note, if the account is not in there by default, you can always go into the general ledger and add your own expense account. The last thing would be if you have an account ID with that particular vendor and you want it to print on the check so it gets processed correctly, you can type that in for account ID number. Once you're done, you would hit OK. And that is how you set up a vendor in Truckwin.